Why do I ride? Is my motorcycle simply a conveyance from point A to point B? Have I hopped on a bandwagon that's seen record high numbers of riders and growing popularity in America? Is it some untapped need deep inside of me that has to seek out some new form of danger in order to be fulfilled? Some sort of primal urge to go fast and take risks? Do I want to just hang out and do hooligan shit with my friends, or is this some sort of midlife crisis? I really think the answer may be all of the above. I like to challenge myself. I like to cover long distances on my bike or just go for quick little day rides. I like to travel with the bare minimum of creature comforts. When I ride, I want to forget about the so-called real world for a while. Riding has also provided the opportunity to meet new and interesting people both online and in the real world. My name is Abel, this is Circus Moto, and this is why I ride. Unlike many people who take up the pastime of riding, I didn't grow up around motorcycles. My earliest exposure to life on two wheels was on the back of my dad's Yamaha Virago in the mid-'80s. He didn't have it for long, but he did put me on the back of it once in a while. I don't think he was ever really that into bikes, and he definitely didn't make any effort or try to get me into it. I remember him bringing home an old moped when I was about 12 years old or so. It wouldn't run, and he never really bothered to work on it for me. To this day, I'm not sure if he expected a young kid with no understanding of how machines worked to wrench on it by myself. He never really taught me anything. How badly I wanted that bike to run, but it never did. It just sat around collecting dust. At 18 years old, I was out of the house, living with my future ex-wife. That's when I met a friend who had dirt bikes. He was kind enough to show me the basics of riding, and he let me borrow one of his bikes. This was it. This was the moment that I had found something that had previously been missing from my life. Within a month, I had purchased my own dirt bike and rode as frequently as possible. I had other friends who were getting into the sport at the same time, and we would ride together every chance we got. Now flash forward a few years. At this point, I was with my current wife, starting our family. I'd seen so many accidents on bike that I'd become somewhat scared to get injured. My wife and I had a new baby, and we had another one on the way. On top of that, it seemed that my job was starting to blossom into my career. I sold my KTM and all of my gear, and I said goodbye to motorcycling out of fear of becoming so injured that I would have to miss a lot of work and not be able to provide for my family. What I didn't realize at that time was how much I'd miss it. Finally, at the age of 38, I decided that I was in a stage in life where the reward of riding outweighed the risk. I bought my first street bike, and that old spark was reignited once again. I once again had a hobby in my life that I was passionate about. I'm in my mid-40s now, and I'll be riding until the day my body gives up on me. I've had acquaintances over the years ask me what it is about riding that I like so much. Why are people who ride so drawn to it, so passionate about it? Well, for me, riding brings a feeling nearly indescribable. The feel of the wind, the vibrations from the engine, and the road beneath you. They're just there to remind you that you aren't passing through an area to get from one place to another, but rather you're part of that scenery. There's a feeling of connectivity around you that you just can't get from traveling by automobile. I think that anyone who's ever thrown a leg over a bike would agree with me.
Alright, yeah, turn around right in the middle of a fucking two-lane highway! What are you doing? Oh, could you be more fucking stupid? I just don't understand people. Literally, just go a little further. There's turnouts all over the goddamn place. You are a fucking moron.
It's hard to explain riding to a non-rider. There's just so many types of motorcycle riding. And by that, I don't mean, street versus dirt versus dual sport. I'm not referring to the type of bike you ride. What I'm actually getting at has more to do with the social or even antisocial aspect of riding. Most riders will have a preference on this subject. To me, there's 5 types of riding, and though most motorcyclists will prefer one type of riding over another. These types are solo riding, group riding, vacation riding or touring as most people would call it, commuting, and those who just want to be a speed demon. Let me take a moment to talk about the appeal of each of these riding styles. Let's talk about solo riding. Riding solo gives you the freedom to choose your own adventure. You're not constrained to anyone else's schedule or itinerary. You're free to just do whatever you want to do. I often ride for no other reason than to just get out of my own head. I need to de-stress at the end of the day. There's not much better than a motorcycle ride at the end of the day to help you just forget about life for a while. Riding solo also gives me a chance to scout out new riding areas or to practice some of my riding skills like cornering and braking without thinking that I'm causing everyone else to wait on me. If I find a fun section of street that I want to ride again, I can just turn around and redo it all over again as many times as I want, and nobody's going to say a damn word about it. Sometimes riding solo gives me a chance to get out of my comfort zone, to push myself a little farther, a little harder, realizing that I'm on my own. I don't have someone to bail me out of this. There's something really good about that to me, something that really speaks to me. For those social butterflies out there, there's group riding. Whether you're riding with a friend or two, or taking part in a sponsored group ride, a poker run, or some sort of charity event, group riding allows you to share a similar experience with others. Group riding typically includes multiple stops, scenic areas, bars, restaurants, parks, you name it. I think I've gone on group rides at just about every form of stop point there is. There's a camaraderie in group rides. Seems that at every stop, at every meetup, people talk about things they just saw on the ride. Perhaps a near miss they had, or an animal sighting, something that somebody was doing in a car that was stupid. There's all sorts of things that we talk about, whether we're just looking at each other's bikes, discussing what's cool, what upgrades and mods we might like, checking out each other's gear and looking for the next best thing. These group rides help build a strong community of like-minded people. They help to find riding buddies or people with specific know-how or parts hookups, someone who may have owned the same type of bike that you're currently riding and may have some insight into how to eke out performance or fix a nagging issue. There's really no community quite like the motorcycle community. Some folks are into riding for vacation or touring rides. I like the challenge of long distances. These rides are a lot of fun for me. I like to visit new and interesting places, states and national parks, famous riding roads around the country that I need to leave my hometown to get to. These rides are for people who just want to see the world. There's something fun about the challenge of, can I pack enough on this motorcycle to last 2 weeks on the road or longer? Whether you're staying in hotels or camping at every stop, whether you're riding through nothing but beautiful weather or have to endure some rain and some cold, this type of riding often lets you know just what kind of endurance you're capable of on your motorcycle. Not to mention there's something almost primal about life on the road when you're on a bike. You're dirty, you're stinky, you're hot, you're wet. It really lets you know how much you can endure and how much you're willing to endure to have some fun. Another type of rider is the guy who uses his bike just to commute. Some people have a bike that is their only means of transportation. They use it as a shop truck. They use it as their work vehicle. They drive back and forth to their workplace on nothing but a motorcycle. Since I've been working construction for almost 25 years, a motorcycle didn't really make sense as a commuter. We haul around a lot of tools and parts, and as a matter of fact, I've been driving an assigned work truck for many years now, so I don't think I'll be commuting on a bike anytime soon. Not to mention that commuting by motorcycle isn't really all that great. There are some who don't mind. They like to put on all the rain gear and ride year-round. I'm not one of those guys. I want my ride to be fun. I don't want to be uncomfortable and sweaty and with the risk of getting wet while I ride to work. The final kind of riding I want to talk about is for the adrenaline junkies, the speed freaks that are out there. I purposely ride a slow bike to try to keep myself out of this category. Even on a slow bike, I find myself pushing it as hard as I can, whether that's just down a straightaway, trying to race somebody off a stoplight, or pushing things a little hard in the corner. The speed freak, they like performance bikes. Their bikes aren't set up to go to a rally and just look at it, or to ride a straight line as fast as they can. No. The speed freak is the guy who's out there really looking to push the limits. They want to become the next Rossi, only on the street. Personally, I find a lot of these guys to be a little on the annoying side. I believe that if you want to go have fun on your bike, you should go have fun on your bike. If you want to ride wheelies, find a safe place to do it. Don't just do it riding down the highway next to me. I've been on group rides where these guys show up and they start hot dogging, and the next thing you know, somebody has crashed because they can't control a wheelie, or they're trying to push themselves far beyond their own capabilities. Don't just go get on a leader bike and try to prove something. If you want to be this kind of a rider, I'm all for it. I love speed. I love adrenaline. But take it to a track day or some sort of closed course. Even better, this type of thrill-seeking can also be done on the dirt. Get yourself a dirt bike. Go to your local track. Learn to hone your motocross skills. These are things that are just a great deal of fun for most people to do. I just ask that people keep it off of the public streets and try to keep people safe. And maybe someday, if my midlife crisis gets much worse, I'll buy myself a fast bike and become one of the speed freaks. But for now, I'll keep it in the slow lane. In my opinion, none of these styles of riding are inherently any better than the others. My personal preference is to ride solo or in small groups. On top of that, I also like to do a bit of touring. Commuting on the bike is never going to be for me, not where I live and not with the job that I do. Though I do have a lot of envy for those who live in places and have the jobs that allow this to be something that is normal. For the rest of you out there, whether you're an experienced rider, a new rider, or just thinking about getting into riding for the first time, just remember that no matter what kind of riding you prefer to do, keep it shiny side up and ride safe, even when you're riding like an animal. Peace, y'all.